The crowned one. The crowned one.
Oh my goodness, I forgot to hit the record button. I just spent the last 5 minutes going to this whole spiel about a ransomware attack and oh my goodness. So, what's up, guys? How's it going? Glad to have you back here at the Crown One. Hey, look, guys, I appreciate you guys' support. Yeah, this time I hit the record button because like I said, I think I just spent like 5-7 minutes and I'm looking at, make sure the recording button is on now, but I just spent about 5 minutes talking to a camera that's not recording. So just be patient with me. It's been a bit of an off week. I'm not even sure why. Just things aren't working out. I found hair in my food. My tire went flat and I had to put air in it. Just craziness, man. But anyways, on a good note, as you can see, I'm wearing the Christmas stuff, getting ready for Christmas, get into that holiday spirit, celebrating the birth of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and just having good times with family and friends. But yes, let's go ahead and get into this article. Right, so as you guys might know, in the Gamerverse, I'm just gonna use that for now to kind of explain where the realm of this ransomware attack is happening. We're seeing Insomniac under a ransomware attack, and what's happened is a ransomware group called Rosita is demanding $2 million before they release over 1.3 million files. Now they've threatened Insomniac to pay up that $2 million. And what you're going to see is personal information and what the article is talking about, details on upcoming games. Now, with that personal information, I want to highlight what they mean by personal information. So in the cybersecurity realm, we call them PIIs, and that stands for personally identifiable information. And we also have PHIs, which is personal health information. And with the PIIs, you can have anywhere like employee files on their name, address, social security number, might even be their driver's license number, depending on whether the company, well, all companies have to prove you're a U.S. citizen to work in the United States. So you're going to probably see copies of people's passports with their passport numbers, birthplace, stuff like that. Might even have birth certificates, again, to prove citizenship. That's some pretty troubling news to hear that this threat actor has about 1.67 terabytes of data, and that's comprising of that personal identifiable information and even projects on upcoming games. With that personal health information, you're going to see surgical files, shot records, immunizations, even like your benefits selection and what you might have chosen for your benefits. So it's a pretty concerning thing, and this is not uncommon. So the space that I work in is cybersecurity. That's my profession, and we deal with this stuff on a daily basis. What you guys might see who are not as familiar with cybersecurity or just hacking altogether, you may see in some of the bigger articles about some ransomware attack or data leaks every now and again, but this is something we see every day, all day. I would say it happens quite possibly every minute, and I don't have the hard data on that, but it does happen multiple times a day. And what my job is on a professional level is to go seek out that quote unquote trouble and look for that ransomware, look for that Trojan malware, things of that nature. And what we're seeing here is evidence of ransomware groups taking advantage of, I would say, companies that may not have their security posture as optimal as it could be. And I know that's a lot of legalese speak, but you want to make sure that you have those security postures in place, because as you can see here, it's likely going to get hacked, unfortunately. So with the ransomware attack that Insomniac is facing, we're talking again with those personal identifiable information. It's also talking about potential upcoming video games. Apparently Wolverine is going to be part of a trilogy. And then also there is no release about whether or not Spider-Man 3 is going to be out, which is something that's highlighted here in the article. And I'll make sure I'll leave that article's link within the description. But Scrolling on down, it says Sony did not immediately respond to The Verge's request for comment on the release of the hack materials when Reseda ransomware announced the hack last week. So I do want to scroll up because I do believe that this article is a few days old. So December 19th. Oh, okay. Actually, it's not that old. Nice. Oh, wait, hold on. That might be a comment. I don't see the original date up here. Okay, yeah, this is the original date. All right. Goodness gracious. I should have confirmed that. But, again, highlighting on the cybersecurity alert says Reseda was a subject of a cybersecurity alert published last month that was co-authored by the U.S. Department of Justice and Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, also known as CISA, or we pronounce it CISA. The alert noted that Reseda has been seen to use VPNs to connect to internal company systems from the outside, often using compromised, and want to highlight this, compromised credentials, that's username and passwords, with organizations that lack multi-factor authentication, which should be enabled by default. So again, if you're not all that familiar with multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication, it is a secondary authentication or part of a layer of authentication processes that you use to ensure that the user who's logging in is that authorized user. And with that, because username and password may not do it, and it's for a number of reasons, specifically because of weak passwords. Every year, and matter of fact, there should be a report released, if not this week, sometime this month. At the end of every year, a report is released on the weakest passwords, and at the top of the list, somewhere in that password is going to have the word password. I mean, come on, guys, we got to do better. Now, with all the security measures that's put in place, the biggest threat, or I should say the weakest link to that security chain, unfortunately, is the user. And I won't just say the user, but the non-compliant user, because you do have users that are very compliant, that do behave, that follow the rules, and make sure that their devices are secure digitally and physically. But you have some of those rogue users who just continue to go their own way. And unfortunately, corporations, much like you see here, end up suffering. Now, I will say that, and I'm not trying to point the finger at the user, because in the article it says that the organization, Insomniac, did not have MFA enabled by default, which is unfortunate, because that's something that you want to put in. I mean, especially if, people can just VPN right into your network with just a username and password. There should be some authentication protocols greater than having just username and password. If you guys are familiar with the hacking realm, I've done some hacking labs myself, and I can tell you, running brute force, where you're doing a password spray, rainbow attack, brute force attacks, things of that nature. It can be quite easy with weak passwords. In fact, when we did a lab when I was in college, we found one person who had that weak password, and we just bombarded them. Like, we got into their system, we started rewriting stuff, overwriting stuff, deleting files. I mean, we were doing damage because they had a weak password. The idea was to, for us to hack one another, but of course, myself and others were securing their passwords. This one user, because there's always one, did not secure their password, and we made sure they knew. So look, if you don't want to get pwned, look, secure your stuff, whether it be your personal computer or your company workstation. Secure your stuff. Do good. And I'm not trying to sound like I'm on a soapbox or sanctimonious or anything like that. It's just common sense. Doing common sense with the respect that all it takes is one try. You spend all this time trying to secure your network, your workstations, your PCs, and you're doing all this, taking all these steps, when all a hacker has to do, all they need is one success to wreak havoc. So I hope that encourages you guys to secure your stuff. And who knows, maybe we'll see some of these games in the future. It didn't say anything about a Spider-Man 3, unfortunately, but I'm quite curious about the new Wolverine. Yeah, I hope you guys have a great Christmas. And look, stay safe out there. You know, the world's getting a little crazy. It's all good. I will tell you, and I would encourage you to trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Merry Christmas.